Okay, imagine a place with these endless blue skies, a land where the legend of Genghis Khan just kind of echoes across these massive silent grasslands. Well, that place is Mongolia. It's one of the biggest countries on the planet, but here's the twist. It's almost completely empty. But this isn't just a story about empty space. Nope, it's about how this quiet, ancient nation has suddenly found itself right in the middle of a brand new global power struggle. So let's get into it.
To really get Mongolia, we have to start with a fact well, it's pretty hard to wrap your head around. By land area, it's the 18th largest country in the world. Huge, right? But when you look at how many people actually live there, that's a whole different ballgame.
And that really is the central mystery here. How can a country this gigantic, a place that once built one of the biggest empires in human history, be so empty today? What's going on that's shaped this incredible, vast emptiness?
Get a load of this number. Mongolia has a population density of just 2.1 people per square kilometer. And here's the really wild part. If you take the capital city out of the equation, that number drops to a shocking 1.1. I mean, that is 3 times less dense than even places like Australia or Namibia. To really put this into perspective, think about it like this. The entire country of Mongolia has about 3.3 million people. You can find a single district in Delhi, India, with more people than that. The whole country could practically fit into one neighborhood of a megacity. So, why? Well, the answer really lies in these powerful and, let's be honest, often brutal forces of geography and climate that have basically dictated life in Mongolia for centuries. So first off, you've got the geography. Mongolia is totally landlocked. We're talking 800 kilometers from the nearest ocean. It's boxed in by these high plateaus and mountains, and they block all the rain. What that means is only a tiny, tiny fraction of this huge country, less than 0.5%, can actually be used for farming. And then, on top of all that, you have the climate. It is absolutely brutal. In the winter, you get these bone-chilling winds whipping down from Siberia that can push temperatures to minus 40 Celsius. No joke, its capital is the coldest in the world. But then in the summer, it can shoot up to 38 degrees. It's a land of constant, wild extremes, which makes just surviving, let alone building big cities, incredibly tough. So what happens when you have a place this hard to live in? Well, you get this. Nearly half of the entire country's population is squeezed into the capital city, which sits on just 0.3% of the land. It's actually led some people to say Mongolia is less of a country and more like a giant city-state, with a massive empty backyard. But here's the thing, being empty doesn't mean you're alone. In fact, Mongolia's location has put it in one of the trickiest geopolitical spots on the entire planet. It is, and I mean this literally, trapped between two giants. To the north, you've got the Russian bear. To the south, the Chinese dragon. And this small nation of 3.3 million people is stuck trying to find a way to walk a tightrope between them. Now, check out this dependency. For its energy, we're talking the electricity and fuel that power the whole country. Mongolia gets 98% of it from Russia. That's not just reliance, that's almost total control. And then you just have to look south. For its economy to function, Mongolia sends a whopping 90% of its exports to China. So you have one neighbor who controls its power and the other who controls its paycheck. That gives both of them a massive amount of leverage. And that leverage, it's only getting stronger. Russia is planning this enormous new gas pipeline called the Power of Siberia 2, and it's going to run right through Mongolia to get to China. For Mongolia, saying no isn't really an option, which just tightens the grip of its neighbors even more. So what do you do when you're caught between two superpowers like that? You can't exactly pick up and move, so you have to get smart and make some new friends. And it turns out Mongolia has a really clever strategy for this. It's called the third neighbor policy. And the idea is pretty simple, actually. It's to build really strong political and economic friendships with other big countries. Think the United States, Japan, India, to create a kind of counterweight to all that intense pressure from Russia and China. It's a diplomatic balancing act, really, all for survival. And look, this isn't just theory. This is the policy in action right here. India is putting up a massive $1.2 billion to fund an oil refinery in Mongolia. And the goal? It's to help Mongolia break free from its almost total reliance on Russian fuel. It's a huge strategic move by a third neighbor. But all this political chess and India's big investment, it's not just about balancing power. There's another, deeper reason the world is suddenly paying so much attention to this empty land. We're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar secret hidden right under the ground. This right here is the real twist in the story. What on earth does this huge, empty country have that's making the world's most powerful nations come knocking at its door?
The answer is rare earth minerals. And these aren't just some fancy rocks, they are the essential building blocks of the 21st century. Seriously, you can't build an electric car, a smartphone, a wind turbine, or even a high-tech missile system without them. Basically, our modern world just stops without these elements.
And here's the jaw-dropping part. Mongolia is sitting on one of the world's largest undiscovered reserves, an estimated 3.6 million tons of this stuff. And just like that, this quiet, empty, landlocked nation has become a potential superpower in the most important resource of our future. This discovery changes absolutely everything. It completely flips the script, transforming Mongolia from a quiet, isolated country into the main stage for a new global competition. And you can already see the players lining up. The United States, Japan, India, they're all racing to partner with Mongolia. Why? Because they're desperate to get a reliable supply of these critical minerals that doesn't come from China, which currently dominates the market. So yeah, Mongolia is no longer just a buffer state. It's a massive strategic prize.
So when you boil it all down, you get this. Mongolia's emptiness has always been its defining feature. But now, the very ground beneath that empty steppe could make it one of the most strategically critical and most contested places on Earth. So the question isn't really, why is it so empty anymore? It's, for how much longer?